Are you ready for your close-up?
I guess I look decent, don't I?
Yeah.
You are the last. I've seen my past. It's only you.
Hello, Mr. Lee.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Today I'm with Mr. Juan H. Lee, who is a famous sculptor in the world. And maybe not too many people would know that you're also a very successful accountant. And you have a practice in Toronto, and we're here at our offices right now. You're a chartered accountant.
Right.
Yes. You evolved from being a young artist into an accountant. So how did you reconcile the two without obviously compromising the quality of either?
We kill all the gods except money. Money is the only god we have left. And money is basically, in the contemporary society, it has a great power over us. And so we're living in a capitalism. We cannot avoid that. We're living in it, and we're living under the influence of this great money. And how we perceive the money is how we practice our life. And my life is divided into one inside of the capitalistic system, one looking in from artistic point of view. And from artistic point of view, I am looking inside of capitalism and try to deconstruct what is happening there, how the money extends its power over us. And inside capitalism, I work as an accountant and understand how the money can roll, money can extend its power from inside.
How does an artist get there?
Well, I was a very poor artist, and I was very happy without money before I got married. But once you get married, you know how you are responsible for somebody else's life, and it's turned out to be no fun not having money. And, from Los Angeles, I finished my art school, and I went to Vancouver, enrolled UBC Commerce, and then I spent about 4 years to become a chartered accountant. And then I moved to Toronto to set up my practice, and I worked 5 years really, really hard. Luckily, I was pretty successful in that. So after a while, okay, you know, well, I can make more money, more and more money, but okay, as I promised, this is about time that I go back to my art practice.
So you had stayed out of art for like 9 or 10 years at this point?
About 7, 8 years.
Oh, okay.
And
you didn't miss it? Your painting?
You wouldn't imagine how much I wanted to go back there.
Okay.
You know, but I promised myself I wanted to be self-sufficient before I go back.
Okay.
So one day, okay, this is it. So I took in my partner, and business is going on. And now I divide it, let's say, about 15% in my practice and 85% in my art practice.
Did you start off as a sculptor?
No, I was a painter, and I did sculpture, and sculpture was selling very well when I was in Los Angeles, a young artist, and I had a collector's following and everything. But I thought that sculpture was not the medium that I could express my deepest philosophy or my, about my life, about human conditions and stuff like that. So,
but that's what you do now.
yeah, but I went to graduate school, Johnson State College, and I did MFA there. And then I figured, okay, this is the point where I have to decide whether I am a sculptor or I am a painter or I am a whatever. And I discovered that, okay, when I see Picasso's work, when I see Matisse's work, when I see Vincent's work, I get intimidated. They are so good. I had a question, will I ever be as good as them, or will I be better than them? but I was intimidated. That's when I decided, okay, I have a talent. My talent is in the sculpture, three-dimensional work, rather than two-dimensional work.
Okay.
So now at my stage, late stage of my life, I only had, I had to pursue one side. You know, nobody is good at everything. So I decided, okay, I'm good at sculpture. Okay, this is going to be my medium now, and that was very good decision, and I think I did very well with that.
Do you think of profit or marketability as you're making your creations?
When I do my artwork, I don't want to think about anything. My work will be sellable, or eventually somebody will want it. That I have to push the idea out of my mind completely. When I devote my work, my effort and my time into my work, I really have to push that aside. Otherwise, my work will not come alive. My definition of good work is the artwork comes alive on its own. It has to have its own life. But if I think of other things like money and my daily life or anything like that, when I work with my artwork, it's my artwork and me. That's it. And then after I finish and it became a product, then it's a product, and it's artwork, but also it's a product. And I do my best to market it, to show it around and expose it as much as I can so people can appreciate it.
Does it ever happen that marketability doesn't happen to a work that you absolutely love?
Sure, absolutely. You know, I don't have any particular style. All people say all my work has my genetic material there, but I don't follow any specific styles, or I don't try to establish, okay, this is one A brand. You know, I do crazy work here, crazy work there. For example, last year I made this new series in China, and to send the image to my dealers and galleries, right? And then one dealer from Connecticut, she says, you know what, now I finally got my clients, collectors, used to your Kasura series. Now I'm starting selling good. Now you come with this completely new thing. How am I supposed to sell them, right? Then I told her, well, perhaps in time your collector might get used to my new ones, or they might not. Then, you know,
okay,
what can I do about it?
they need to follow your stream of thought rather than you follow their
exactly, you know,
marketing plan.
Right, right.
So what are you thinking about when you're doing your art? If not,
really,
will it sell?
Emptying my mind. You know, I even suppress the preconceived images. You know, when I go to China, Mexico, and when I'm in the studio, there are lots of images, thoughts comes around, and they hover around me. But if I decided something, okay, today I'm going to do this, and it doesn't work out, when I go sit and with the clay, and the image comes, then I follow that image, and it's not a preconceived image. It's just the unformed images, flickering images. But the sculpture itself will form its own images, and I follow it, and we discuss it. My sculpture and I talk.
Oh, okay.
And sculpture wants to this way, then I always follow it. And then accident happens, maybe arm broke off. Then okay, maybe that's the way you want to go. And then I find the beauty in there. So there'll be armless sculpture. And maybe sometimes, you know, the ear falls off, then okay, earless sculpture. So basically I let my sculpture come alive on its own, rather than I force my will or my preconceived images in there. When they see my work, wow, this is really alive. It has its own life, and that's the greatest compliment I can have. Any artist can have.
What kind of advice would you give to artists about reconciling money and creativity, given all that you've been through?
Yeah. I would divide artists into, let's say, in that sense, 3 groups. One, completely ignoring money factor, even despise them, ignoring them, and they don't mind being poor, and they just plug it along doing their work.
Starving artists.
Starving artists. That's admirable. And the other side is artists who are really consuming themselves for marketing their work. Instead of putting their creative effort into work, they think about how am I going to market this? So one side is...
Are they sellouts? Sorry. The last group, are they sellouts?
I wouldn't say sellout, but it's preoccupied by the by becoming famous and becoming becoming rich through art, and both sides has a problems. And I would say money is something not despicable, but something not worshipping it.
Not to be worshipped.
Not to be worshipped, and we have to balance it. And the money is a great tool. It's a very, very necessary tool, and it's an important tool sometimes. In the sense that, in a sense, it makes our life or our creative activity much easier. It saves time. For example, artists who don't have money, they have to, like I did. I was working in Los Angeles when I was a student, $2 an hour job. And it's a wasting time, 4 hours, repetitive, boring job to make a living. I didn't mind living poor, but I still had to make money and pay a little bit of rent.
So that time you could have used to do your art?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. The third type of the artist would be someone who can balance the extreme side. So what we have to do as an artist, aware that the money is a tool, and we have to manage it the way the capitalist system wants us to manage it, in one sense. And the other sense is we look at from outside, stare it down, this is the only money. For example, a lot of artists ignore tax problems and financing problems, and not knowing is not something to be proud of.
Okay.
We should be aware of these things and play the game inside of capitalist system by knowing well enough or planning well enough. We don't have to be. We don't have to get the money overpowering us.
Okay, sorry. So you are actually an accountant too, many artists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's a lot of artists will not file income tax.
Oh.
A lot of artists just ignore it. Hopefully, it just goes away. But there is a lot of the advantages of dealing tax matters and financing matters and squarely. Go to your accountant and talk about it, and your accountant will tell you how best your situation you can use. A lot of artists work full-time or part-time work, and they pay tax, right? And by reporting the art practice activities, you can write off a lot of things.
What?
You can save time, and you can save a lot of money by deducting your other income from your art practice. You don't have to prove that you're a professional artist.
Oh.
As long as you work, you can prove that you work hard, and your art expenses can be deductible from other sorts of income.
Tell us some expenses that are possibly deductible.
Oh yeah, you buy paints, you buy canvas, and you rent a studio. They're all expenses, and you itemize them.
How about your transportation?
Transportation, if you have to carry something to From your house to your studio is not deductible.
Oh.
From your studio to art store, yes,
Okay.
that's deductible. Your studio to see your clients, that's deductible. And there are deductible items and non-deductible items, but by presenting this to your accountant, they can do this, itemize it, and nicely, squarely for you, and then you can report if you sell some art. Obviously, if you're a very successful artist, of course you sell more than your expenses. Then having proper expense itemized, you pay the least tax. But if your expense is more than your art income, then you can deduct that expenses against other income too.
Okay.
So you get to save a lot of money.
So artists also have the problem, I guess, of having uneven income distribution throughout their lifetime, from year to year.
Yeah, that's fine. One year you make a lot of money. Next year you have you lose a great deal. Then you can You can use the loss carried back. If you say you made a lot of money last year and you didn't make any money this year and you have a loss, then you can bring this loss back to last year and you can get that money back that you paid last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and if you build up losses this year or year before, or several years, you build up these losses altogether, then eventually when you make a lot of money, you can use this loss against the future income too.
Oh, wow. Good
now
to know.
I'm talking.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is important to, when you play inside of capitalist system, you play with the rules, with the rules, and you don't have to be worried about it. You shouldn't be scared about it. You play with the rules, capitalist rules. Okay, fine. If there's income tax rules, I'll play with it. If there's financing, planning or something, and then you play with the rules.
So you make it sound like within the game of capitalism, with dealing with the accounting world, there are rules of the game. What about with art? Is that a game too?
No, that shouldn't be a game. You have to really deal with your art practice completely naked.
Naked?
Yes.
Okay, tell me what you mean.
Naked means there shouldn't be any curtain between you and your work. So, there are games that we play in this world. So, for example, income tax, and capitalist money, and marketing, but there are a few things that you should not really play games with, such as love, such as your friendship, such as your family, and your artwork as well. There shouldn't be any game playing going there, and a lot of times it hurts when you're naked, but that hurt is necessary or even enjoyable pain.
Oh, okay.